Hi everyone, welcome back to DGMC, Diwan-e-Ghalib, Meri Subani. To all our returning viewers, we are very happy you could join us again. And to the new viewers, we are delighted you discovered the podcast and decided to tune in for the first time. Now, if you were with me in the previous episode, you know that last time we finished Ghazal 25 by Nazr-e-Karam Tohfa-e Sharm-e Ka from Diwan-e-Ghalib. What that means is today we get to start a new Ghazal, Ghazal 26 from Diwan-e-Ghalib. Now, as per DGMZ's tradition, in the first episode of the Ghazal, I do narrate the entire Ghazal. In the consecutive episodes, I will only narrate the couplets we are going to pick in that episode. So, we are going to go through the entire Ghazal today and then get on with the Matla of the Ghazal, the first couplet. So this is how it goes. Gar na Andoh-e-Shab-e-Furqat bayaan ho jaaega. Gar na Andoh-e-Shab-e-Furqat bayaan ho jaaega. Be-Takalluf Daagh-e-Mah Muhr-e-Dahan ho jaaega. Zahra gar aisa hi Shaam-e-Hijr mein hota hai aab. Partav-e-Mahtaab Sail-e-Khaanumaan हो जाएगा. ले तो लून सोते में उसके पांव का बोसा, मगर ऐसी बातों से वो काफिर बदगुमा हो जाएगा. दिल को हम सर्फ-ए-वफा समझे थे, क्या मालूम था, यानी ये पहले ही नजर-ए-इम्तिहान हो जाएगा. सबके दिल में है जगह तेरी, जो तू राजी हुआ, मुझ पर गोया एक ज़माना मेहरबान हो जाएगा. गर निगाह-ए-गर्म फरमाती रही तालीम-ए-ज़ब्त, शोला खस में जैसे खून रग में निहा हो जाएगा. बाग में मुझको ना ले जा, वरना मेरे हाल पर हर गुल-ए-तर एक चश्म-ए-खून-फिशां हो जाएगा. वाय गर मेरा तेरा इंसाफ महशर में ना हो, अब तलक तो ये तवक्को है कि वहां हो जाएगा. फायदा क्या सोच, आखिर तू भी दाना है असद, दोस्ती नादां की है, जी का जिया हो जाएगा. So that is Ghazal 26 from Diwan-e-Ghalib. We have a lot to cover today for the first couplet, the Matla of the Ghazal. So let's dive into it. Gar na Andoh-e-Shab-e-Furqat bayaan ho jaaega, Be-Takalluf Daagh-e-Mah Muhr-e-Dahan ho jaaega. So the approximate translation, let's do that quickly. First line, Gar na Andoh-e-Shab-e-Furqat bayaan ho jaaega. If not, the grief and anxiety of this night of separation gets expressed. Second line, Be-Takalluf Daagh-e-Mah Muhr-e-Dahan ho jaaega. Then verily I tell you, this seal of silence on my mouth will show up as a scar on the face of the moon. So that is the approximate translation. Let's dive into the keywords. First one, Andoh. So Andoh is grief, sorrow, sorrowful, full of grief. इस पर मिर्ज़ा गालिब का शेर. अगले वक्तों के हैं ये लोग, इन्हें कुछ ना कहो, जो मैं और नगमा को अंधो रुबा कहते हैं. So the approximate translation is, these people are from another time altogether. Do not say anything to them. These are the people who believe that wine and poetry and songs and music can repel sorrows, can neutralize sorrows. मिर्ज़ा गालिब का ही एक और शेर. मैंने चाहा था कि अंदोहे वफा से छूटूं, मैंने चाहा था कि अंदोहे वफा से छूटूं, वो सितमगर मेरे मरने पे भी राजी ना हुआ. Approximate translation is, I wanted to escape this grief and sorrow of loyalty and faithfulness, but that cruel tyrant of a beloved, did not even agree to me dying. So freeing yourself from loyalty and faithfulness by extension means dying, because the lover, as long as he's alive, is going to stay loyal and faithful to a beloved who is sending unrequited love his way. Right? So basically, freedom from loyalty and faithfulness to the beloved is akin or equivalent to death of the lover. मीर तकी मीर का ये शेर, अंधों से हुई ना रिहाई तमाम शब, अंधों से हुई ना रिहाई तमाम शब, मुझ दिल ज़दा को नींद ना आई तमाम शब. So the approximate translation is, the release from the grief did not happen all night. This wounded, afflicted heart of mine and me did not get any sleep all night. And then this last one from Ghalib himself, beautiful couplet. पहलू तही न कर गमो अंदोह से असद, दिल वक्फ दर्द कर कि फ़कीरों का माल है. So the approximate translation is Asad, and the poet is referring to himself, Asad, which was Mirza Ghalib's pen name, one of his pen names. He says, Asad, do not evade, do not ignore, right? Do not separate yourself from the side where pain and grief reside. In fact, you should make your heart pause in pain. You should make your heart go still in pain. You should make your heart stay in pain. Remember, Asad, pain is the treasure. Pain is the riches all wise mendicant dervishes seek and have. So do not, like all other common people, run away from pain. In fact, pause your heart in pain, and you will receive the riches which all wise men, dervishes and mendicants have. Okay, moving on to the next word, Shab-e-Furqat, the centerpiece of the Ghazal, by the way, other than the moon. So Shab-e-Furqat is, Shab is night, Furqat is separation. Shab-e-Furqat becomes night of separation. इस पे अमीर मिनाई का शेर, शब-ए-फुरकत का जागा हूँ फरिश्तों अब तो सोने दो, कभी फुर्सत में कर लेना हिसाब आहिस्ता आहिस्ता. ब्यूटिफुल गज़ल, आपने सुनी होगी शायद. अप्रॉक्सीमेट ट्रांसलेशन इज, एंजल्स, आई एम समवन who has been awake multiple nights of separation. Let me sleep now. This tally of good and bad that you have to do, come some other time to do it. For now, let me sleep a little, because I am that lover who has come from earthly life after being awake for endless nights of separation. And of course, the background story that plays in this sher is about the two angels. We have covered it in one of our episodes. The two angels who visit you once you are put in your grave, and they sit at your head, right, and do the tally of your good and bad, and decide whether you will go into heaven and hell. So Amir Mina is asking those angels, guys, can you give me some time? I have led a life of endless sleepless nights, not just any nights of separation from my beloved. Let me sleep for a while, come back, and we will do this tally sometime later. बर्ग दहलवी का ये शेर, शबे फुरकत नजर आते नहीं आसारे सहर, इतनी जुल्मत है रुखे शमा पे भी नूर नहीं. Approximate translation is that when you are in the night of separation, you cannot see any signs of morning at all on the horizon. Pitch dark. The night seems to have no end. There is no sign of the morning. The plight is such that even the candle, the face of the candle, has no light at all. That is the pitch darkness of a night of separation. Just no respite, no light. Morning light, candle light, any light. Nothing. It's dark. आसी गाजीपुरी का ये शेर, तड़पना, तिल मिलाना, लौटना, सर पीटना, रोना, शबे फुरकत अकेली जहां पर 100 आफत आती है. Now this is going to be difficult to translate. The Google translator inside me is not fast enough to keep up with this one, but we'll try. Okay, so the approximate translation is writhing in anxiety, smiting with pain, turning one way and the other, again in pain and grief, pounding my head and weeping. In this night of separation, hundreds such perils come to me one after the other. There is just no respite. One after the other, one peril after the other just keeps coming at me throughout this night of separation. नसीम भरतपुरी का ये शेर, शबे फुरकत कज़ा नहीं आती. Damn, right? शबे फुरकत कज़ा नहीं आती, लाख कहता हूँ आ नहीं आती. Approximate translation is that in the night of separation, death doesn't come. Death doesn't arrive. 1,000 times I implore it to arrive. It doesn't arrive. And then साहिब श्रेया का ये शेर, वो शबे फुरकत में भी यूं मुस्कुराए जा रहे हैं, हिज्र के लम्हे ना क्यों हमसे गुजारे जा रहे हैं. So a great depiction of the two sides of the coin, right? So there is night of separation. Approximate translation is they, in this night of separation, continue to smile throughout the night. Then why these moments of separation at my end are so difficult to go through? Why am I having so much trouble going through them while they at their end are smiling through them? नाज मुरादाबादी का ये शेर, दिल शबे फुरकत सुकून की जुस्तजू करता रहा, रात भर दीवारों दर से गुफ्तगू करता रहा. So the approximate translation is, during this night of separation, my heart kept desiring, kept wishing for some peace. And while it was wishing all through the night for some peace, it kept talking to the doors and the walls. By extension, the lover is all by himself, waiting for some kind of peace to come, and while that peace doesn't come and the lover continues to wait, he is conversing with the walls around him. So all those couplets, and beautiful couplets, Urdu poetry does a phenomenal job of depicting this night of separation. It's not a small thing. It's not a small thing. Some lovers might have to go through it once. Some might have to go through it night after night. Doesn't matter. The quantity doesn't matter. The quality is such that one such night is calamity, calamitous proportions of pain and grief and loneliness and darkness. And all those couplets paint that picture very well for us. Because if we do not appreciate the depth and darkness of this night vis-a-vis any other night, we will not be able to appreciate the beauty of the couplet, right? Okay, moving on to bayaan. Bayaan is description, narration, recitation, right? Describing something, vocalizing about something while detailing it. So that is bayaan. इस पर ज़फ़र मुजीबी का ये शेर, बयान सदमा फुरकत से दम निकलता है, ना पूछिए जो मुसीबत उठाई है साहब. So the approximate translation is, while reciting, while narrating the shock and torture of the night of separation, I almost choke on my own breath. Right? Do not ask me the proportions of calamity that I have borne through this night of separation, Mr. Right? जॉन इलिया का ये शेर, मेरी हर बात बेअसर ही रही, नुक्स से कुछ मेरे बयां में क्या. So the approximate translation is, whatever I said had no effect. Whatever I said was ineffective. Was there a problem in my narration, in my narrative, in my detailing, in my description? दुष्यंत कुमार का ये शेर, वो आदमी नहीं है मुकम्मल बयां है, वो आदमी नहीं है मुकम्मल बयां है, माथे पे उसके चोट का गहरा निशान है. Beautiful couplet. The approximate translation is, that is not just a man, that is a complete narrative in itself. Because if you notice, on his forehead you can see a deep scar from obviously a deep wound. The scar tells it all. Life has left a mark, and you look at that mark and you can make out the entire narrative just by looking at that mark. Beautiful couplet, amazing. And then मोमिन खान मोमिन का ये शेर, कभी बैठे सब में जो रूबरू तो इशारतों ही से गुफ्तगू, वो बयां शौक का बरमला तुम्हें याद हो कि न याद हो. Approximate translation is, when we used to be sitting in a huge crowd, face to face and conversing with each other through glances. Those conversations, those descriptions of wants and desires, do you remember them or have you forgotten them? Those unsaid conversations, right? But बयां बयां का मज़ा जिस तरह से गालिब के कपलेट्स में आता है, उसकी बात कुछ और ही है. No one does bayan of the word bayan like Ghalib. After all, Ghalib's bayan is no ordinary bayan from no ordinary man. Now, here is a couplet about Ghalib and his bayan of the beloved. जिक्र उस परिवश का और फिर बयां अपना, जिक्र उस परिवश का और फिर बयां अपना, बन गया रकीब आखिर था जो राज़दा अपना. Beautiful couplet. Cannot get into the impression, but even for the translation, right, there is this very interesting twist Ghalib has in this couplet. So the approximate translation is, the mention, right, the mention of that fairy-faced beloved, and then my description of that fairy-faced beloved. What happened was that I created an enemy out of a person who was my companion in the secret, right, about me and the beloved. I created an enemy out of him because her beauty was mentioned, and then I brought in my detail and description of her beauty, and it was too much. This person who was supposed to be knowing my secret about my feelings for my beloved fell for my beloved after listening to how I described her beauty. So they're worthy of a long, elaborate impression, but that's the translation for today. So that is Ghalib's bayan about the beloved. Now, Ghalib's bayan with reference to himself, and आप सबने ये शेर सुने हुए हैं, but doesn't take away from the beauty of them at all, right? पहला वाला, ये मसाइल तज़फ़्फ़ुफ़, ये तेरा बयां गालिब, तुझे हम वली समझते जो ना बादा ख्वार होता. So the approximate translation is, these concepts that you have, and then the detailing of these concepts that you have, Ghalib, and the poet is referring to himself, we would have taken you to be a wise man, a mendicant, a dervish, had you not been a drinker of wine. right? We would have thought that you are some wise sage that has descended from heavens above, right? But your love for wine drinking doesn't allow us to do that. एंड देन दूसरा शेर है, और भी दुनिया में सुखनवर बहुत अच्छे, कहते हैं कि गालिब का है अंदाज़ बयां और. एंड अगेन जस्ट द स्टाइल ऑफ गालिब, राइट? एवरीबडी इज गुड बट देन देयर इज मी. Everybody is good, but then there is me. So the approximate translation is that yes, the world is full of poets, great poets, good poets, Ghalib, great poets, but it is said that Ghalib had a unique style, a very unique style that nobody else had. So again, the detailing and the description. So it's not only about what you are saying, it's about how you are saying it. And the how sets Ghalib apart. Frankly speaking, so does the what, because what Ghalib talks about is also not common. His point of view is not common. He comes at the same thing from a very different point of view. But how he says it, it's just totally in a class of its own. Okay, so that takes care of bayan. Moving on to takalluf. Takalluf is, now this has multiple nuances to it, and one has to assess which one fits. But on a normal day, takalluf is about etiquettes, it's about formality, it is about maintaining a certain decorum. Now it can go both ways, maintaining a false decorum or maintaining a true decorum, but maintaining a face around something, maintaining the politeness, maintaining the sometimes the farce of something, right? So takalluf can play both positively and negatively, but usually it is a positive emotion. जॉन इलिया का ये शेर, क्या तकल्लुफ करें ये कहने में, जो भी खुश है हम उससे जलते हैं. So the approximate translation is, what formality should I do in expressing myself? The gist of the matter is, I am jealous of anybody who is happy. That is the level of my grief. Anybody happy makes me jealous. अहमद फराज का ये शेर, मैं कदे में क्या तकल्लुफ, मैं कशी में क्या हिजाब, बज़ में साखी में अदब आदाब मत देखा करो. So the approximate translation is that once you are in the tavern, right, what use is all formality and decorum? Once you have started drinking, what use is any kind of veiling of the fact? In the congregation of people who are drinking, formalities and etiquettes and decorum etc. have little to none value, right? Once you are here, you should be informal, you should be true to yourself, whatever that self is. शेख इब्राहिम ज़ौक़ का ये शेर, ए ज़ौक़ तकल्लुफ़ में है तकलीफ़ सरासर, ए ज़ौक़ तकल्लुफ़ में है तकलीफ़ सरासर, आराम में है वो जो तकल्लुफ़ नहीं करते. So the approximate translation is that ज़ौक़, it is proved that if you are being formal, if you are being too, if you are putting up a facade, right, of politeness etc., there is always discomfort associated with it. Very comfortable are those people who do not get into the formalities of things, who do not get into the extreme etiquettes of something, right? They are true to themselves, they are as they are. Such people usually tend to be very comfortable. परवीन शाकिर का ये शेर, बस ये हुआ कि उसने तकल्लुफ़ से बात की, बस ये हुआ कि उसने तकल्लुफ़ से बात की और हमने रोते रोते दुपट्टे भिगो लिए. So the approximate translation is, this is what happened, right? This is what happened. He spoke to me with formality, and that made me weep and drench shawls and scarves after scarves. That was the effect it had on me. His speaking to me coldly and formally, right? That's the effect it had on me. So that takes care of takalluf. Moving on to daag, which is scar. मिर्ज़ा गालिब का शेर, दागे दिल गर नज़र नहीं आता, बू भी ए चारागार नहीं आती. Approximate translation is, O medicine man, I agree you cannot see these scars on my heart, but can you not even smell them? And by extension, these scars are burning on my heart. They are getting branded on my heart. Sure, you cannot see them, but I'm sure you can smell them. With the type of burning that's happening inside me, oh medicine man, can't you even smell them? मिर्ज़ा गालिब का ही शेर, ले गए खाक में हम दागे तमन्नाए नशात, तू हो और अब बासद रंगे गुलिस्तां होना. Approximate translation is that I am now going and taking all the scars of my unfulfilled desires and wishes with me to my grave. You, beloved, on the other hand, stay here on earth and enjoy gardens full of thousands of colors of joy and happiness, right? अहमद फराज का ये शेर, जख्म भर जाएं मगर दाग तो रह जाता है, जख्म भर जाएं मगर दाग तो रह जाता है, दूरियों से कभी यादें तो नहीं मर सकती. Good one. The approximate translation is that even if the wounds heal, the scars will always remain. No matter how much distance is put between two people, it never is able to kill the memories. अहमद फराज का ही शेर, दाग दामन के हों, दिल के हों कि चेहरे के फराज, कुछ निशान उम्र की रफ्तार से लग जाते हैं. Again, a beautiful couplet. So the approximate translation is, be it scars on the honor of someone, be it scars on the heart of someone, be it scars on the face of someone, Faraz. And the poet is referring to himself. There are some marks that are left by life itself as it passes by. You cannot avoid them, you cannot escape them. Life leaves its mark somewhere or the other. So that takes care of daag. Moving on to ma or meh, both pronunciations for the moon. One second. Now, as we explore the moon, it is a lovely thought, right? There is no ignoring the fact that one of the biggest role moon plays in Urdu poetry is being perceived by the lover as a reflection of the beloved. Usually the moon is pretty like the beloved for the lover, not the beloved as pretty as the moon as pretty as the beloved. So lover almost perceives the moon as the beloved, especially in the beloved's absence. बहादुर शाह जफर का ये शेर, अक्से रुखसार ने किसके है तुझे चमकाया, अक्से रुखसार ने किसके है तुझे चमकाया, ताप तुझ में मैं कामिल कभी ऐसी तो न थी. The approximate translation is, who has given you this shine, whose countenance of their face has imparted this shine to you. O full moon, you never have shone this brightly before. So the beloved's face and the reflection of it, the countenance of it, has imparted the moon with a shine that is one of its kind. The full moon never shone so brightly before. जलील निज़ामी का ये शेर, माह नौ देखने तुम छत पे ना जाना हरगिज़, माह नौ देखने तुम छत पे ना जाना हरगिज, शहर में ईद की तारीख बदल जाएगी. Approximate translation is, beloved, do not go up to the roof to look at the 9th day moon, because if you do that, I am sure the date of the festival of Eid will be changed. And why? Because when you will stand on the roof looking at the moon, people will look at you and think the full moon has already appeared, and they will recalculate the date of Eid. शेख इब्राहिम ज़ौक़ का ये शेर, मैं जबी याद है कि भूल गए वो शबे महताब की बातें. So the poet is addressing the beloved as O moon-faced one, or literally translated, O one with a forehead like a moon, do you recall the happenings between us on that full moon night, or those full moon nights? Okay, now so these are the times when the lover is looking at the moon, comparing the beloved to the moon. Comparing the moon to the beloved, remembering the beloved while he looks at the moon. There are some rare occasions when the lover is comparing himself to the moon, and those are some very interesting examples also in Urdu poetry. हैदर अली आतिश का ये शेर, मेरी तरह से मैं और मेहर भी हैं आवारा, किसी हबीब की ये भी हैं जुस्तजू करते. किसी हबीब की ये भी हैं जुस्तजू करते. So the approximate translation is, just like me, I think the sun and the moon are also wandering in search. Because just like me, it seems they are also desiring some beautiful thing or a beautiful one, right? Now, Mirza Ghalib का ये शेर, रखते हो तुम कदम मेरी आंखों से क्यों दरेग, रखते हो तुम कदम मेरी आंखों से क्यों दरेग, रुतबे में महरो माँ से कम तार नहीं हूँ मैं. So the approximate translation is, beloved, why do you stop yourself from putting your feet on my eyes? I, in rank and dignity, am no less than the sun and the moon. And again, the couplet worthy of a great impression, where Ghalib is calling himself the sun and the moon, but then the beloved even much, much more higher in rank. Because Ghalib is saying, I am no less than sun and moon, so why do you hesitate to put your feet on me? So basically, the beloved is going to put her feet on the sun and the moon. So you can only imagine the rank Ghalib has given to her. So she will have the sun and moon under her feet. Okay, so that takes care of Ma, which is moon. Moving on to Mohr, which is seal or stamp. मीर तकी मीर का ये शेर, देख उसके खत की खूबी लग जाती है चुप ऐसी, गोया की मोहर की है उनने मेरे दहन पे. The approximate translation is, as soon as I look at her letter, as soon as I read her letter, there is a silence that descends over me, as if she has put a seal of silence on my mouth. परवीन शाकिर का ये शेर, मेरे लबों पे मोहर थी पर मेरे शीशा रू ने तो शहर के शहर को मेरा वाकिफ हाल कर दिया. The approximate translation is, my lips had the seal of silence on them, but this mirror-like face of mine has made aware, town after town, has made them aware of the state of my heart. फैज़ अहमद फैज़ का ये शेर, दरे कफस पे अंधेरे की मोहर लगती है तो फैज़ दिल में सितारे उतरने लगते हैं. Approximate translation is, when the seal of darkness is put on the door of my death, by extension on the door of my grave, my tomb, then Faz, and the poet is referring to himself, then Faz stars themselves start descending into my heart. Heart-wrenching couplet, beautiful, of course. The approximate translation is, once I am put in my grave and it is sealed, I am finally at peace. After this long, wretched life, I am finally at peace, so much peace that I can almost feel the stars from the heavens above descend into my heart. Beautiful. शौकत वस्ती का ये शेर, मजहब का सिर्फ नाम है वरना समझ पर अब तक है मोहर सब्त वही जात पात की. Thought provoking couplet. Approximate translation is, the religion is talked about in name only. The fact of the matter is that even today, on the entire population lies this unbroken seal of the old caste and creed and race, etc. Religion is unnecessarily dragged into the picture just for the name of it. But the fact of the matter is that this unbroken seal is of caste and creed and race that still exists unbroken on the minds of the population. That takes care of mohr. Moving on to dahan, which translates to mouth. इस पर मीर अनीस का ये शेर, गोया की मोतियों का खजाना है ये दहन, जर्रे ज़मी पे अक्स से सारे चमक गए. Beautiful couplet. The approximate translation is, it's as if her mouth is a treasure chest full of pearls, because when she speaks, the dust particles around her feet start reflecting like pearls when her words start spilling out of her mouth. Just a vivid, beautiful depiction. And then this one from Mirza Ghalib, beautiful couplet. रगो पै में जब उतरे ज़हरे गम तब देखिए क्या हो. रगो पै में जब उतरे ज़हरे गम तब देखिए क्या हो, अभी तो तल किए काम और दहन की आजमाइश है. Just amazing couplet, out of this world, right? The approximate translation is, when it will finally descend into the veins and the nerves, then you will realize the effect of the poison of grief. For now, this poison is still in the mouth, and all you can feel is a bitter taste. Wait for it. Wait for it, let it descend into your veins and nerves, and then you will know the effect of this poison. Beautiful. All right, so that takes care of all the keywords. Lot of couplets, but I'm sure by now गर ना अंदोह-ए-शब-ए-फुरकत बयां हो जाएगा, बे-तकल्लुफ दाग-ए-मह मुhr-ए-दहां हो जाएगा. You would have got a good sense of all the words in here. Let's get on with the impression. First line, गर ना अंदोह-ए-शब-ए-फुरकत बयां हो जाएगा. Now, in this couplet, once again, Ghalib is going to use the if and then logic. First line will be about all the if, and in this case it is if not, and the second line is all about the then. So let's get into the if not trigger, which is in the first line. So what is this if not trigger? It is the bayaan, the detailing, the expressing, and of what? Well, the grief of the night of separation. Now, grief of the night of separation, in this couplet it is called Shab-e-Furqat. This is not something we are ignorant of. In fact, like I said, Urdu poetry does a phenomenal job of capturing and detailing the night of separation. For today's impression, DGMZ is going to come at Shab-e-Furqat from two vantage points, just to facilitate the understanding of Shab-e-Furqat. Now, The first aspect of Shab-e-Furqat is, what does the lover not have during this night of separation? Well, that's a very simple answer, straightforward, one and only one thing: beloved. By extension, beloved's company, union with the beloved, that is what the lover does not have during this night of separation. The second aspect is, what does the lover have with him during this night of separation? Well, Urdu poetry answers this question in beautiful, eloquent ways. There are many things that have been detailed in Urdu poetry as keeping the lover company during the night of separation. We cannot cover all of them, but we will pick a few of them, especially the ones that are pertinent to this couplet. So, number one, what gives company to the lover in this night of separation? Well, the lover himself. Lover has his own company during this night of separation. Look at this couplet from Shakib Jalali. मुझसे मिलने शबे गम और तो कौन आएगा, मेरा साया है जो दीवार पे जम जाएगा. The approximate translation is, who else will come and meet me during this night of separation but my own shadow that is going to go and freeze on the wall in front of me. And that's how that shadow is going to keep me company throughout this night. The second thing that gives company to the lover during this night is the heart of the lover. The pain in the heart of the lover gives him company during this night. इस पे बशीरुद्दीन अहमद दहलवी का ये शेर, जोर से सांस जो लेता हूँ तो अक्सर शबे गम, दिल की आवाज अजब दर्द भरी आती है. Approximate translation is, during these nights of separation, when I take a very deep breath, I hear a strange noise, pain-filled noise, which is the voice of my heart. Pain-filled voice of my heart. And then Zahir Kashmiri का ये शेर, शबे गम याद उनकी आ रही है, चरागे दिल की लौ थर्रा रही है. The approximate translation is, in the night of separation, her memories are flooding over me and the flame of the lamp of my heart is flickering uncontrollably. So, the lover gives himself company, the lover's heart, the pain inside that heart gives lover company, the candle burning through the night gives lover company. राइट. इस पे मलिक ज़ादा मंजूर अहमद का ये शेर, शमा की तरह शबे गम में पिघलते रहिए, शमा की तरह शबे गम में पिघलते रहिए, सुबह हो जाएगी, जलते हैं जलते रहिए. अप्रॉक्सीमेट ट्रांसलेशन इज, along with the candle, like the candle, keep burning, keep melting throughout the night. Don't worry, the morning will come. You are burning. Continue to burn through this night. And then the last thing that we will cover, which gives lover company during this night of separation, is night itself. And that is the most relevant one to our couplet today. So the night itself, with all its artifacts, the moon, the stars and the works, right? All of them keep lover company during this night of separation. फिराक गोरखपुरी का ये शेर, सितारों से उलझता जा रहा हूँ, सितारों से उलझता जा रहा हूँ, शबे फुरकत बहुत घबरा रहा हूँ. The approximate translation is, I am getting caught up in a chaotic maze with the stars. Such is this night of separation and the anxiety it is creating in me. जिगर मुरादाबादी का ये शेर, शबे फुरकत भी जगमगा उठी, शबे फुरकत भी जगमगा उठी, अश्के गम हैं कि माँ पारे हैं. Like we discussed, the night of separation is dark, so dark, eternally dark, right? But in this couplet, Jigar Muradabadi says, so this is the translation, that even the night of separation lit up lit up, got illuminated. Such were the tears of grief I shed, almost making me think, are these tears that I am shedding, or are these pieces of moon that I am weeping, which are making this night of separation light up? परवीन शाकिर का ये शेर, पूरा दुख और आधा चांद, पूरा दुख और आधा चांद, हिज्र की शब और ऐसा चांद. प्यारा शेर है. Approximate translation is, my grief which was whole and the moon which was half. Such was the night of separation. Such was the moon during that night of separation. So the beloved here, right, Parveen Shakir, the beloved here is complaining that at least, if nothing else, the moon could have been full, right, and matched the full, complete, wholesome grief I had in me. Even the moon didn't do me justice, and it was just half. Nothing was there to match my wholesome grief. So as you can see, there is a very undisputable cosmic celestial connection between the lover and the night itself during the night of separation. There's a bond, there is a familiarity, there is a connect that happens between the lover and the night. Now this dynamic the lover strikes with the night itself lies at the foundation of today's couplet and answers the key question this couplet raises: why scar on the moon? This intimacy, this closeness the lover feels with the moon is for more than one reasons, and we have discussed them. Number one, because he identifies the moon to be the beloved. Number two, moon is the one who keeps him company night after night during these long nights of separation, right? So it's almost as if moon becomes an extension of the lover. The moon belongs to the lover, or some would say the lover belongs to the moon. Doesn't really matter. The fact is they are closely, intimately connected. The lover and the moon. Now, Andoh-e-Shab-e-Furqat, pain of the night of separation, this is not something the lover can escape. This is not something the lover can avoid. It is a cross that he has to bear. And that takes a toll on the lover, especially when he has to bear it night after night. मिर्ज़ा गालिब का ये शेर, कहूँ किससे मैं कि क्या है, शबे गम बुरी बला है, मुझे क्या बुरा था मरना अगर एक बार होता. We have covered it in one of the ghazals that we have already finished. The approximate translation is, who do I go and describe and detail this night of separation to? All I will say is, it is a calamity. It is an evil calamity that falls upon the lover. I would have happily died if it was once, but this night of separation makes me die multiple deaths. Every night I die in this calamitous night of separation. And then Ali Imran का ये शेर, शाम घर जाएगी मैं किधर जाऊंगा, आस मर जाएगी मैं किधर जाऊंगा. Beautiful couplet, heart-wrenching again. Approximate translation is, the evening will finally go back home. Where will I go? The desires and wishes will finally die. Where will I go? By extension, I have nowhere to go. I am going to stand here and wait for that evening to come back and torture me again, for those dead wishes to come alive again, and then hope, and then again die when not fulfilled. These things will have some place to go. These things will have a cycle to be in. But me, I have nowhere to go. I will just be here bearing this torture again and again. So that takes care of the first line, Gar na Andoh-e-Shab-e-Furqat bayaan ho jaaega. If I am not allowed to express, if I am not allowed to vocalize the grief and pain of the night of separation. And we have covered the night of separation in great detail from various vantage points. Moving on to the second line, Be-Takalluf Daagh-e-Mah Muhr-e-Dahan ho jaaega. Muhr-e-Dahan ho jaaega. Verily I say unto you, it will be a scar on the face of the moon itself, this seal of silence on my mouth. That is the second line. Many question the connection between the grief of the lover or the grief of the night of separation the lover is going through, the seal on his mouth of silence, and the scar on the moon. I've read online commentaries where people just discard the fact that there is even any remote connection between these three things. It's as if Ghalib has randomly thrown these things together. We at DGMZ know Ghalib doesn't throw anything randomly together, right? Nothing is random. Nothing is random. But yeah, when you read it straight up, translate it straight up, it might throw you off, right? But as we covered, the almost cosmic connection the lover feels to the night and all its celestial elements is an intense one. And here I will read to you from Nizami's Laila-e-Majnun by Suluk Press. And if you want to go through the entire episode, it is part of the DGMZ mini-series. It is episode number 11. But I will read a part of it for you. So this is how it goes. The night was as light as day, and the face of the sky, a garden of flowers, hung resplendent high above the earth. Sparkling like a golden ornament, the firmament kept turning. The 7 planets, their hands linked, trod out the dance of fate on the carpet of the horizon. Meteors hurtled through the dome of heaven like spears of light thrown against demons. The air was impregnated with scent, and the jewel of the moon was spreading a garment of silver rays over mountains and valleys truly. The royal tent of this night was a matchless miracle, full of wonders. Like a great Shah, the full moon was riding through it, draped in golden brocade. Mercury was his arrow, shot from the royal bow. Venus, the dancer, adorned the border of his saddle as a lovely ornament, while the sword of the sun, which during the day scorches the world, remained hidden in its scabbard. In the heat of anger, Mars was seeking to blind the eye of his enemy, while Jupiter carried the salvation of the world in his sleeve. Hanging from Saturn's belt was the steel rod which he uses secretly in the darkness to sharpen the sword of the morning. But it was still night. Lonely, Majnu stood under the sky, his eyes wandering from star to star. Which of them would come to his aid? At last, during this journey, his eye reached Venus, and it was she whom the lover addressed first. Start of quotes. Venus, lighting up the night, beacon for all those who are searching for happiness in the world, mistress of singers and dancers, your hand holds the key to success. Your wine sparkles in every goblet. You are the seal in the king's signet ring, the queen in the palace of prosperity, the star of noble men and intimate friends. Your gift is the pleasantry on sensitive lips, and those who belong to your circle are scented with ambergris. Be gracious also to me. Open for me the gates of hope. Do not let me wait and starve outside. Look, my soul is sick, and who but you would know the cure? Let me inhale the scent of my beloved while there is still time. After his prayer to Venus, Majnu's eye wandered along the seam of the sky until he encountered Jupiter. Could he not also help? Majnu addressed these words to him. Start of quotes. Jupiter, star of delight, whatever you promise, you keep your word. Yours is the care of our souls. You put your imprint on each kingdom in the world, for you are the star of just rulers and judges. It is you who writes the book of grace, and you who determines who is the victor and conqueror. The structure of the world rests on you. You give my fate its grandeur. My heart draws its strength from you. Keep faith with me. Do not turn your eye away. Help me if there is still help for me. And I thought that chapter captures the way the lover connects with the night sky and the celestial elements around him, in his loneliness, in his hopelessness, in his helplessness, as he's trying to somehow get through this period of separation, somehow get through this night of separation. The relatability the lover feels with these celestial bodies cannot be ignored or understated. It is very strong, it is very intense. The lover genuinely believes that his power of love and pain is at par with these powerful celestial bodies. हबीब जलीब का ये शेर, जब मैं हो महर बुझ गए जलीब, जब मैं और महर बुझ गए जलीब, हमने अश्कों से रोशनी की है. Approximate translation is, when the moon and the sun themselves extinguished, we have illuminated darkness by our tears, by the illumination in our tears, by the light of our tears. And then जिगर मुरादाबादी का ये शेर, ऐसी भी एक निगाह किए जा रहा हूँ मैं, ऐसी भी एक निगाह किए जा रहा हूँ मैं, जर्रों को महरो माह किए जा रहा हूँ मैं. Approximate translation is, there is this one glance I'm sending out. There is this one glance I'm sending out which is transforming dust particles into suns and moons. That is the radiance, that is the illumination, that is the power, intensity of my gaze that I'm sending out. The lover believes that the intensity, purity, heat, sheer energy and power of his love and pain can leave a permanent mark on these powerful celestial bodies. इकबाल साजिद का ये शेर, रोएंगे मेरी याद में महर ओ माँ ओ नजूम, रोएंगे मेरी याद में महर ओ माँ ओ नजूम, इन आईनों में अक्से कलक छोड़ जाऊंगा. Approximate translation is, in my memory they will shed tears, this sun, this moon and these stars. In these celestial mirrors I will leave such a reflection of my sorrow and grief. Same vibe that we have in today's couplet. That's what today's couplet is all about. The lover and his pain and grief leaving their mark. Undeniable, indelible, permanent mark. Not here or there, on the sky above, on the sky above, on the cosmos itself, right? This second line also brings to mind the below couplet that we have covered in a previous ghazal, which was, सीने का दाग है वो नाला की, लब तक ना गया, खाक का रिस्क है वो कतरा की, दरिया ना हुआ. In the first line, we covered this theme about how unuttered laments left a permanent scar on the heart of the lover. Simply put, just because you do not let out an emotion doesn't mean you erase it. Emotion is energy. You cannot destroy it, you cannot erase it, but you can surely redirect it. And that's what the lover does. When the lover stops the lament from being uttered out from the mouth, what he's doing is that he's redirecting it to be absorbed in. Deep inside the heart, that absorbed lament will leave a permanent scar. So that was that couplet that we covered, right? Seene ka daag hai wo nala ki lab tak na gaya. In today's couplet, it almost seems that Ghalib steps up the game. Right? And this time, in today's couplet, this is what Ghalib is saying. If I am not allowed to utter and voice out my grief and pain bought by this night of separation, if this time around, once again, I am forced to internalize it, then verily I tell you, truly I tell you, it won't just scar my heart. This time, the pain and grief is so great that it will spill out and scar the moon itself. The unsaid here being the fact that moon indeed is much scarred. We know, right? Moon has lot of scars on it, and by extension, it almost seems that Ghalib is saying that moon with all its scars bears testament night after night up in the sky of the pain and grief the lover internalizes and bears in silence because of that seal of silence on his mouth. Redirecting all that pain and grief internally and absorbing it inside of him in silence scars the lover beyond repair. And this scarring then starts to spill over into the universe around him. In Ghalib's case, in this couplet, spills over right up to the moon. Now, we have already established how the lover connects to the celestial elements of the night and especially with the moon. So, we can now say it's not surprising that the lover's pain of the night of separation is actually witnessed by the moon, night after night. The moon witnesses the lover writhing in the pain and grief of separation. And Ghalib, in his unique style, almost says the moon with all its scars will give the testimony to the seal of silence on the lover's mouth. The seal that did not allow the lover to voice his pain, his grief. The seal that forced the lover to internalize all that sorrow, pain and grief. And that is what the second line is all about. This is the then of the if and then logic that Ghalib is using in the couplet. If not allowed to detail and voice my grief of the night of separation, then moon will bear a scar as testament to the seal of silence that was put on my mouth. I was not allowed to speak on this earth. The moon up there will speak of my silence night after night. In his own unique, powerful, intense style, the lover and his grief and his pain from this night of separation will leave a permanent mark on the moon itself. So that takes care of the second line, Be-Takalluf Daagh-e-Mah Muhr-e-Dahan ho jaaega. And that also brings us to the end of the couplet. Now, before we end the impression, we did want to read two ghazals for you which beautifully capture this sentiment of the night of separation and how the lover, and though Urdu poetry has archetype, lover being a male, beloved being the female, but in the world of love there is no gender. Love has no gender, heart has no gender, blood has no gender, tears have no gender, pain has no gender. So it applies to anybody who is feeling those emotions. So whichever party is feeling or having to go through this night of separation, these two ghazals which I am going to narrate capture that sentiment very well. I will not be able to do the translation. These are long ghazals, but hopefully you will still be able to enjoy them. So this first one is from Makhdoom Mohiuddin. It is part of the movie Gaman from 1978. This is how it goes. आपकी याद आती रही रात भर, चश्मे नम मुस्कुराती रही रात भर दर्द की शमा जलती रही, गम की लौ थरथराती रही रात भर, बांसुरी की सुरीली सुहानी सदा याद बन बन के आती रही रात भर, याद के चांद दिल में उतरते रहे, चांदनी जगमगाती रही रात भर, कोई दीवाना गलियों में फिरता रहा, कोई आवाज आती रही रात भर. So that is one, and then this one is from Amjad Islam Amjad. चांद के साथ कई दर्द पुराने निकले, कितने गम थे जो तेरे गम के बहाने निकले, फसले गुल आई फिर एक बार असीराने वफा, अपने ही खून के दरिया में नहाने निकले, दिल ने एक ईंट से तामीर किया ताजमहल, तूने एक बात कही लाख फसाने निकले, दश्ते तन्हाई हिजरा में खड़ा सोचता हूँ, हाय क्या लोग मेरा साथ निभाने निकले, हिज्र की चोट अजब संग शिकन होती है, दिल की बेफैज ज़मीनों से खजाने निकले, उम्र गुजरी है शबे तार में आंखें मलते, किस उफक से मेरा खुर्शीद न जाने निकले, कुए कातिल में चले जैसे शहीदों का जुलूस, ख्वाब यूं भीगती आंखों को सजाने निकले, मैंने अमजद उसे बेवास्ता देखा ही नहीं, वो तो खुशबू में भी आहट के बहाने निकले. So that takes care of the impression for today. I hope you enjoyed the impression. Very excited that we have started a new ghazal. As always, we'll be very keen to listen from you on the episode. Look forward to your comments and feedback. Now, just a quick reminder, I did it in the last episode also. For a few episodes, I will keep reminding you. After that, hopefully, everybody will be caught up with it. We have launched DGMC Bites. They will come every Wednesday. And we are looking forward to you seeing them, sharing your feedback with us. Critical feedback, constructive feedback, appreciative feedback, however it is. We are much open to it. It's a new venture, a big change of stance for us. From a 1 hour episode to go to a 60-second bite was not easy. We have no idea. We have no idea how we did it, but we did it. We did it, and we are very keen to hear your feedback on it. So if and when you get time to access Bites, they will be available to you in the tab of Shorts. We also have created a dedicated playlist for it. So all you have to do is just click on the Bites playlist, and all the Bites, as we keep posting them, you will be able to see their color all in one list. Okay, now as always, for the new viewers, a very strong recommendation. Please go through the episode titled Introduction to DGMC, because it will give you a good insight and information about the motivation, inspiration behind this podcast. Homepage of the channel has multiple playlists. Surf through them, pick episodes that interest you. Now, I'm going to end by sending a lot of love and light to all you dear viewers, and thanks for watching.